And I, Billy, the Voldemort was you and I. We had the power to speak up. We didn't. We stayed in. We cucked. We rolled over and took it like spineless, yellow-bellied, cowardly men. There's no Dan Andrews' fault. There's no police fault. This is our fault. It's the men of Australia not standing up for what's right. We are the Voldemorts. We like to blame other people, blame the government, blame Big Brother. We don't forget to take a look at you and I in the mirror. The only people who can change our own lives are ourselves. And the whole world laughed at the Australian men. The whole world laughed at us for being cowards and letting our women and children suffer in agony. Yeah, well, a lot of people got called crazy, but the thing is, history has shown who the cowards were and who the people who stood up. And those people that blindly turned off their critical thinking in the name of group consensus, in the name of keeping their small town job and just fear of any kind of change or personal responsibility. Like, I remember my mum used to say this as a kid. Just because everyone else does it doesn't mean it's right. If everyone else jumped off the cliff, would you do it too? People pretty much did by just bowing down and turning off their critical thinking and joining groupthink. Yeah, but I guarantee you they didn't apologize, right? I was so shocked at the lack of accountability when all the data came out against the tyranny of these so-called politicians and these so-called rules, mandates. And when new research came out pointing out that they were all frauds, no one acknowledged it. No one spoke about it. No one was willing to apologize. It was like it never happened. I was like, sometimes I would hear things in the American news and the next day I expected the whole nation to be changed, but just no one acknowledged it. When they found out that it's airborne, right, you don't get no surfaces, everyone kept sanitizer for years after. For years, people kept using sanitizer every single day when in America they stopped using it years before because they realized it was airborne. You couldn't get it from surfaces. And no one talked about it. They just kept people living in a goddamn la-la land. It's the emperor with no clothes. We all sat around and we're laughing because, like, look at the emperor with no clothes on. Oh, he looks great in his robes, because we don't want to be stupid. So the entire fucking city, the whole goddamn world, like, oh yeah, look at this fancy clothes you've got, emperor. You look wonderful. I'm not stupid, am I? I'm not stupid, am I? Look at the emperor with his fancy fucking clothes. He was naked the whole time. The whole time, the emperor was naked. But no one would say anything because they're all fucking little bitch, cowardly, yellow-bellied cucks. Disgusting. Time, the emperor was naked. But no one would say anything because they're all fucking little bitch, cowardly, yellow-bellied cucks. Disgusting son of a jackals. Just total parasites. Son of a jackals. Just total parasites. It's cowards. Like, oh, I don't want to ruin my ability to pay off my 3 cars and my 2 overseas holidays per year, and the fact that I like to have 10 fancy cocktails on a Friday, and I like to pay for morning after pill. My 3 cars and my 2 overseas holidays per year, and the fact that I like to have 10 fancy cocktails on a Friday, and I like to pay for morning after pills every 2 months. Like, people say, man, I got 5 kids to feed. Like, bitch, you got 1 kid to feed and you're on Centrelink. Come on. How hard is it to feed one? Like, people say, Man, I got 5 kids to feed. Like, bitch, you got 1 kid to feed and you're on Centrelink. Come on. How hard is it to feed one? What was there worth protecting? What was there worth protecting after? Why do we get involved in the war? What do we get after that? The entire English Empire lost within a couple of decades. All family values gone down the toilet. Mass migration, there's no culture left anymore. What's the point? At least we're not speaking German. What do you mean? Like, now we're all just speaking Newspeak instead. We're speaking 1984 Newspeak. Is that any better? Instead, we're speaking 1984 Newspeak. Is that any better? Well, look, Billy, there's nothing wrong with listening to authority, like when they are people of honor and they make sense. They're practical laws that make sense. I love laws and love the government. It's totally fine. But when they get out of hand, when they violate basic human rights, that's when you need to think about the macro socio-economic consequences of bowing down and doing nothing. Now, if your family apologized, that's incredible. Good on your family, dude. There's some good people out there still. Now, if your family apologized, that's incredible. Good on your family, dude. There's some good people out there still. You know, Owen Benjamin made a funny joke. He said, your reward is the lack of myocarditis. That's your prize, is that you have a healthy... Your reward is the lack of myocarditis. That's your prize, is that you have a healthy... Oh, Billy, if you get out of the... Oh, Billy, if you get out of the... They can't have someone like me being successful, can they? No, no, no. No, no. Yeah, I just said, catch up for a cup of coffee if you're free. Before you skip town and go off and... Yeah, I just said, catch up for a cup of coffee if you're free. Before you skip town and go off and your little adventures. I didn't scare them. I'm a fucking teddy bear, mate. Unless you get me riled up. I didn't scare them. I'm a fucking teddy bear, mate. Unless you get me riled up. Trying to make it. Trying to live a life more similar to Jesus Christ than Elvis Presley or any of the other fucking faggots in Hollywood. Yeah, but the thing is, there isn't really much of an alternative. Like, most people's lives are based on the idea of working a job they have no connection with and then buying plastic things to impress people that don't like it. That's most people's lives, and there is no replacement. There's nothing else that can really replace people's hearts more than conspicuous consumption. It's been built since post-World War II, this materialistic, plastic, hedonistic culture. It's the way. It is the way. And no one else is willing to think of an alternative way of life that isn't based around conspicuous consumption and false idols and a sense of status and power, pleasure. You know, there's nothing else can replace that. So people will die unless they have that fiat currency, that credit card in their hearts. Unless they have that credit in their hearts, they have no need to live. That's the entire focus of existence, is to consume and to purchase and status. And without that, what is there? What is there? What are they going to do? Tend to their lawns, you know, find God, start a family, start poetry, get into learn other languages, travel the world, start a business, work hard, build something, serve, help the elderly, you know, write a book. No. There's so many options, isn't there? So many opportunities. Learning, educating. That's great. But make sure you pass it on, Billy. Don't be a selfish twat and then learn it all and then not give back. Take it in and then give it out. There's no gift like the gift of giving. You know? You're supposed to learn and then give back to your community. Don't just soak it all in like a sponge. I know a lot of people like that. They're just really into learning and educating, but they don't have any like kids or friends or businesses where they give that love and knowledge. Well, you can find a way to give it back. There's always someone you can give it to. Look at me, I've got 2 people on this live, 1 people. That's enough for me, because, you know, you got to start somewhere, right? And not everyone needs to be a CEO. Like Mark Zuckerberg, he looks miserable to me. Who wants to be a goddamn CEO? You know, it's fine to have like 1,000 followers. That's fine. It's good enough. You know, I went to primary school. There's 350 people there, so 1,000 people. That's almost 3 schools. You say that, but you're on Centrelink and you're walking around Melbourne and you're childless, and you know, like look at me. At least I still work. I still contribute somehow. You can't just be on this journey by yourself all the time. You have to give back. I mean, it's completely selfish to be so narcissistic and self-absorbed. I understand you have to work on yourself, but you know, do it for a couple of years and then give. Like, you can still learn as you give. Like I do like mental health support work. Now I'm doing dialectic behavioral therapy facilitation, and half the time I'm still learning, but I can still facilitate while I'm learning. You can teach while you're learning. You don't have to just wait till you're at this fucking guru level and then start teaching kindergarten, because by the time you're some kind of guru, it's hard to when people are scared of you. Dude, people fucking want to be scared. They're so sick of being around pussies and goddamn, like, weird manipulators, the backstabbers and gossipers. Like, those guys who are, like, up front. At least that's what you are. There's nothing hidden behind the scenes. There's no weird fucking perverted shit. It's, like, face value, you know? Like me, I used to be really introverted and shy, but I've realized it's better off being being up front about things and then denying reality instead of keeping things bottled up. And so twist into some fucking weird like stalker or some crazy like psychopathic shit. You just bring it all out straight away and don't let it build up and twisted and contorted and chemically enhanced. Just tell it how it is straight away, brother. Just let it all out. Just fucking let it out. I mean, you can always start with like just doing peer work. Just do like a Cert 4. Yeah, man, words are nice, eh? I like words. It's up there with shitting and fucking. He met God in meditation. He gave me a message. Oh, that sounds cool. I thought you said he gave you a massage. I was like, dude, that wasn't God. That was a fucking sexual deviant, dude. You just got fucked up the ass by a weirdo, man. No. I'd like to hear what God said to you. Meeting God comes at a price. Yeah. Alright, this actually sounds interesting. Alright, I'm ready. Billy, what was the message that God gave to you? It sounds like the devil, dude. God doesn't ask you to exchange your soul for some kind of no. Man, no. You don't do deals with Lucifer. See, what you think you want and what you actually want are different things, my man. Temptation. You're going to say something like practical? I mean, I understand, obviously, it was like an esoteric experience, but do you see how it's going to be hard for other people to relate to you when you're being kind of airy-fairy? Like, if you had a meeting with God, I'd be upfront about it. What did he say specifically? Because right now, you're sounding like someone who's... I mean, I think maybe, you know what it is? It could just be the articulation issue, because... Perhaps when you say you met with God, you're basically saying that maybe you had like a philosophical epiphany, if you will. Like you just had a lot of clarity, and perhaps you're just abbreviating that by saying you with God. You don't mean like you've met the Creator. You're saying that you felt like a divine presence. You felt like you're in a state where you had a strong spiritual connection, and you felt like some intuitive information. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. Well, I asked you to go on live. You know, I'm sure you're not that ugly. You look like a handsome dude. I'm sure it's not really a problem. Unless you're like a criminal or something. Bitch, I'm a criminal. You don't want to fuck with me. Girl, see, you ain't nothing but... Oh, I got done for hate speech. Fuck, I gotta go. This is what you wanted. This is what you had in mind. Something satisfying about doing your own chores. You know what's funny? Like dancing and cleaning, that's something no one does these days. Both great things for you, except for all the cleaning products people use. All those freaking chemicals. once was a man named Michael Finnegan. He grew whiskers on his chin again. Wind came up and blew the minigan. Poor old Michael Finnegan beginning. There was an old man named Michael Finnegan. He grew whiskers on his chin again. Wind came up and blew the minigan. Poor old Michael Finnegan beginning. Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers, which peck of pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? How's everyone's weekend going? Billy, in the house. Want to join? Who wants to join? Who wants to have a video chat? Who wants to come on the video chat? That's the question on everyone's lips. Who wants to come on the video chat? One shot, one opportunity. You capture this moment. Or he's gonna let it slip. I don't care if your palms are heavy, knees weak, arms are hip. Oh, you're in hospital. What are you in hospital for, man? If you don't mind sharing. If it's not going to re-trigger any unresolved traumatic events, which actually activates the same pathways in the brain as the actual event itself. Day pass. Alright. Complications from surgery. That's unfortunate to hear, Billy. Was the surgery, was it mandatory? Was it something that you had to get done? Was there any other choices? Because I know sometimes doctors like to encourage surgeries because they love surgery, because it's their job. You overshare. I don't know. I feel like most people don't share enough. A lot of people are just so untrusting, and I watch too many serial killer movies, and they just have such a false representation of the human race. I mean, humans in general, they're pretty good, right? And there's like more movies about serial killers than what there actually is in real life, you know? Like the media industry is designed to keep us in a state of fear, not just because it sells, but because they want us in a low vibrational state, whereby when you're in a fear state, you're in the activation of the flight response, the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, so you're not going to be able to see the big picture. You can't see the macro sociological puppet strings being pulled by the cabal when you're in, you're just so focused on fear. Like, you can't really grow or be a full man when you're just always worried about little things, you know? And 4 years ago, you're still having problems. Well, I really hope you heal quickly. You know, you look young. You seem to have a lot of conviction, so that will be in your favor. Because the elephant in the room, a lot of medical professionals don't want to talk about, is that there is a lot to say for mindset and mental resilience in terms of recovery. You had large intestines 4 years ago removed from ulcerative colitis. Your intestine became all scar tissue. And how'd you get the ulcers? That's typically from stress and or alcohol abuse. Am I correct or am I correct? Correct. Ulcerative colitis is an unknown cause, but I think it's from complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So it is stress-related. So it's your emotional and thinking patterns have led to physical ailments in your body. All right. So you've always felt like you've been under attack, so your body's just never let you really relax. And so you're kind of burning the candle at both ends, if you will, thereby depleting your energy reserves at such an excess that you've actually put irreversible damage upon your internal organs. So there you go. So that is direct correlation between ensuring a proper childhood and ensuring a proper childhood and ensuring a proper childhood and reducing the amount of surgeries for young men. So you wouldn't have needed this surgery if you didn't have such a difficult childhood, because complex post-traumatic stress disorder, therefore taxpayers would have to pay less money, to fix and your issues if you just didn't have that complex childhood trauma. So if society put a focus on raising children, then we wouldn't have to spend so much on medicine. Comorbidities. Autism. A lot of autistic people have gut issues, right? That's all good. It wasn't that important anyway. So, what do you attribute the gastronomical increase in level of diagnosed autists of late? Now, I know that the predominant theory on the streets is that, well, we are simply at a more evolved state now with technology so that we can spread awareness. Whereas all throughout human history, people were just walking around undiagnosed. There's nothing lifestyle or medicinal or cultural that has contributed to the increase in autism. Simply, it is because now we are so smart and wonderful and clever and have all these tools that we can know. Whereas all throughout human history, people just struggled without that diagnosis. Like I'm left-handed, the same thing, right? Billy, the exact same thing. Your choice of how you brush your teeth is the exact same as the 5,000% increase in autism in the past 20 years. Nothing to do with what people have been putting into their bodies. Just because people are so smart now, they're just so aware of all these conditions. An awakening from God. You think God wants people to be diagnosed? God gave us free will. He doesn't want anyone to do anything. All the choices are our own. It's up to us what we want to do. He gave us life. We have free will. Don't you think that some people find comfort in a diagnosis because it kind of puts the blame on a condition as opposed to societal issues, dietary issues, and extreme cultural deficiencies and fix his mistakes. That's a pretty big call. What? So how will having a diagnosis of autism, Billy, help fix God's mistakes? I mean, what sort of treatment for... Oh, you don't? I thought you were saying that you have autism. That's why you have gastro issues. But yeah, I just don't understand. Isn't autism, it's not really that treatable, right? It's not like it's a skin condition. So how will a Western scientific diagnosis help with the management of so-called negative symptoms? Yeah, exactly. That's my point. What can a doctor do to fix you? And what does it mean to be fixed? Yeah, and just imagine, Billy. I understand, like, the absence of any kind of illness is the aim, but what does that really look like? A person who's well adjusted is a person who's lower middle class, working 9 to 5 in a job that they have no kind of connection with, and they're kind of agnostic and self-indulgent, but kind of have hopes for the future, but it's purely financial. And there's also this complex that they're kind of born without with a chip on their shoulder. So I don't really understand why everyone wants to act like this perfect person when the ideal perfect person now is pretty low. The bar is pretty low. Yeah, exactly. So hunter-gatherers, I mean, I just don't think that city life is imperative. Like, the entire diagnostic manual of the psychology booklet is designed to say, make people conspicuous consumers just living in a concrete jungle. And they never think to say, have you tried starting a family? Have you tried moving to the country and starting a homestead? What about living in a strong knit community with a lot of people who you trust? They always assume there's a problem with the individual, and they fail to encompass the sociological implications in one's mental health journey. Yeah, I mean, the leader of the Seventh-day Adventists, she didn't think people should live in cities. I mean, I understand if you're a stockbroker, right? But there's not many jobs like where you have to live in the city. The only perk is if like you're in your early 20s and you're still trying to find your soulmate. There's more access to potential mates in the city, but most of them are actually off the market as ineligible because they're so agnostic and self-destructive, or just such a hyper materialist that they're too far gone that you can't even have a conversation with them or talk about anything real because they're just too far gone with their beliefs, and then they're not willing to admit that there's room to grow, because then they'll acknowledge that their whole life has been a lie, pretty much. Forced to move in the city, had to adjust to society. Yeah, and who's to say that any of these problems or diagnoses you have, they wouldn't be have totally worked themselves out naturally if you were just had more of an outdoorsy lifestyle, and you had a lot of responsibilities, and you didn't have the luxury of having a person in a white coat tell you what to do. It's just really interesting to look at Western medicine from cross-cultural lens, because other people around the world think differently, and they get by just fine. I got sick around the same time I moved into a city to look after my family. Yeah, you know, the city just means there's more things to poison you. And you really have to have strong financial aspirations to really live in the city. Otherwise, you forget why you're there. I think the whole point of the city is supposed to go in, make your fortune, get out. You're supposed to just, be there for a couple of years, work hard and fast and intense, long hours, and do it, and hustle and innovate and then make networking, and then get out. You're not supposed to be there forever. I mean, a couple of years, yeah, but after a while, you start to hate the city. Like, you just really de-emotionalize and dehumanize, and you just... Also, you end up eating too much fast food and stuff, and drinking too much coffee and booze, because it's always around. Fast food, coffee, booze. Fast food, coffee, booze. Just cleaning the cushions, by the way. I'm not angry. I lived in Melbourne City for 8 months last year. I didn't even have a job. Well, it's a good city for it. You can just walk around there. There's a lot of free stuff to do. It's really catered towards a bohemian, gypsy, Romanian type, isn't it? Free rent, no need for money. I went there for a pilgrimage. Was that like a religious thing? Yeah, but there's no such thing as a free lunch, my friend. There's always a catch. No such thing as a free lunch, hombre. When something's free, you are the product. You are the product. When something's free, they are getting something from you. You just don't know it. You got to pay back your auntie. Wow. You got to be careful on a bicycle in Melbourne. I've been hit by 2 cars. Also on a bicycle in Melbourne. A lot of people there, and people make mistakes. I actually know a few people who have actually died on the bicycles. I actually went to dinner with my fiance's friends in San Francisco, and I asked the husband of my friend, of Katya's friend, and he said, his previous love. I asked about, so, have you been married before or anything? He's like, yeah, I had one long-term relationship, but we broke up. And I said, oh, why, what happened? Oh, she died. They were on a double bicycle together. And yeah, got hit, and then he never even heard anything else about it. He was in a coma. I was emotional support for her getting over the lockdowns. Oh, good on you, man. You could have saved her life. That was like the biggest human rights violation in since the beginning of the 20th century. Like, nothing in World War II can even compare with what people went through then, in terms of, as well as being innocent people. At least in the war, you know you signed up for. But innocent people in solitary confinement, the things they have done, the childhood dreams that will never come true, the romances that were killed, the amount of depression, the amount of people who just destroyed their livers and their brains during that time. It's the biggest human rights violation in human history. Yeah, but the thing is, the Voldemort was you and I, Billy. The Voldemort was you and I. We had the power to speak up. We didn't. We stayed in. We cucked. We rolled over and took